Oh, the looks on their faces as they call us racist. Libs in the media can't wrap their heads around Trump's epic win. Instead, they blame it on their usual suspects: racism, misogyny, anger, and cat timph. Roll it, Sven.
Donald Trump knows our country better than we do. He figured out that anger and, frankly, fear were way more powerful than appealing to people's better angels. Whether you're afraid of immigrants or afraid of people who are trans.
We cannot ignore there is still a lot of racism and gender bias in this country. Kamala Harris is a woman of color in an interracial marriage and running as a woman to be the head of state. That is something a lot of Americans are not ready to deal with.
There's misogyny. But it's not just misogyny from white men. Mm-hmm. It's misogyny from Hispanic men.
Right.
It's misogyny from black men. If she were a 6'4" white man from Arkansas or from, Florida, if she could chew tobacco and carry a shotgun and talk about football and be a guy's guy.
Oh. Joe Scarborough complaining about white guys is like me complaining about male models. The problem with the Dems is they do want that 6'4" man, but on a girls' swim team. So how do you tell me that you learn nothing without telling me you learn nothing? Sure, there's racism and gender bias, but it's coming from the Dems. It wasn't us saying we wouldn't vote for Harris because she's a black woman. It was the Democrats saying they would vote for Harris because she's a black woman. And sorry, Sharpton complaining about racial bias is like the Menendez brothers complaining about being orphans. All right. Charlie. Is it possible for the media? Okay, so the media is dead.
Totally.
Like, podcasts are now going to be the way forward for these sorts of political things. Is there any moment of self-reflection where they can say maybe we're the problem?
No, how could they? It's not possible. That's looking too far deeply into their own souls and recognizing that they've been lying to people for decades. And we should be careful because we've sort of, I think we've talked about this before, we've sort of rolled them out before, and then they come roaring back with some inexplicable ability to sway in the next election or something. But it is extraordinary, and we don't talk about it enough. That, we look at how much money these campaigns spend. No one ever calculates the billions of dollars of free advertising that Kamala Harris got coming out of the convention, out of the Republican convention, trying to prop her back up and make her into a candidate. And Democrats get all the time. And at the same time, another thing that we never recognize, don't spend enough time talking about, is the fact that forever money has dominated politics. And so Kamala Harris is our first billion-dollar candidate. And she lost.
Yeah.
And you can add to the list of things that Donald Trump accomplished twice now, because Hillary Clinton also outspent him 2-1. Twice. And he's the only person to have ever done it since the invention of electricity. A candidate beats somebody who spent more money than them.
Spent $1 billion in
billion to his
Kamala.
$400 million.
That's an expensive piece of ass. A sexist would say, how dare you applaud that? Michael Loftus, do you love Scarborough going after the black and Hispanic men for being racist against a black woman who's married to a white guy? Didn't see that one coming.
Right? And you could almost see the wheels turning in Scarborough's head when he's talking to Al Sharpton. He's like, don't say black first. Don't say black first. Don't say black first. So he's a Hispanic man. They'll blame it on everyone but a candidate who didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
It's like when you were being endorsed by people who had to read their endorsements off the phone, it was bad. It's like Joe Biden had America on autopilot. And we were heading down, and then, he tapped out. He didn't know where he was. Am I in a plane? So they had to get... So the Democrat Party, they didn't look back at everybody else on the plane and go, does anybody know how to fly? They didn't even ask, does anybody know how to fly a plane? They just went, you, Kamala, get up here. I'm a middle class, I don't know. And Tim Walz, I'm going to talk you down, Kamala. Let's land this bird. It's horrible. When the media points a finger, they have three pointing back at themselves.
I've never heard that phrase before.
No, you have. Judge Janine just says it wrong.
Yeah.
She always says 4 fingers pointing back to you, and we're too scared to tell her it's a thumb.
You know, Kat, if there's something that enrages my racist soul more than anything, it's interracial marriage.
Well,
oh, I can't handle it. Is that incredible?
Yeah, that's why she lost.
Yeah, she was married to a white entertainment lawyer. Oh my God.
Honestly, I was surprised to see everyone at work on these channels, because you think that they would be hiding because Hitler's coming to put them in camps.
Yes.
It's that time of year.
Very shortly. I mean, they have a matter of months to get their affairs in order. There's been a lot of talk about how they're overreacting to Trump winning. I think they're underreacting.
Yes.
Based on the things they themselves have said.
How can they push for a peaceful transition with Hitler?
They really thought that they were going to be they were going to be punished and put in camps and all these other things if he wins, why are you on TV showing where you are?
Yes. Hide. It's a good point, Tyrus.
Great point.
You think maybe they were exaggerating a little?
No, I think they were. Well, I think Scarborough was having a projection moment. Mm-hmm. I think he was describing all the men who had stolen his wife before. Hitler's cool, but that's not. This election can be summed up in 2 words: Bud Light.
Yeah.
No, it is. In the case of Bud Light, it was one elite CFO who decided there was something wrong with the people who bought the product. They were too fratty, I believe is the term.
Yeah.
So they said they're not good enough and we're going to go this new way. And Americans said, well, I'm not going to buy it anymore. And this is what happened. Mm-hmm. The Bud Light, in this case, CFOs, is the Scarboroughs and all these so-called journalists who basically were telling everybody how to think. Yeah. And instead of giving them a reason why, they would just say, well, it's Hitler. Because let's be honest, if you're having an argument with somebody and they say, well, you're Hitler, there's nobody worse. So they're going to win the argument, So that's what they did. And they did it so well that it worked for them in 20. Yeah. They got him out. But then the problem started happening, and they kept still reminding him of Hitler. It has a lot to do with the N-word for us. Like, it was a word described wretchedness, and it was horrible, and we were less than men, and we were monkeys and chimps, and they called us that N-word. And then we started calling each other as a form of brotherhood and unity, and that's what happened with this election. Is it was no longer a race thing. It was like, hey, do your eggs cost $12 too? Mine too. This is some and then the Asian guy's like, yeah, no, me too. And then pretty soon there's this whole coalition of multicultural broke people who just want some eggs.
Yes. Gotta wonder, that really, really horrible guy before Hitler is probably so happy Hitler was born. Finally, I'm off the hook.
Genghis Khan was like, woo!
You're Genghis Khan. Coming up, The View is broken now that voters have spoken.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.